Welcome back to the Elegant Warrior. Today we are talking about 3 tools that will help you to handle your emotions when you are facing a high stakes conversation. When we are facing these conversations, maybe it's receiving feedback, asking for a raise, asking for help at work, asking our partner to do something for us, or setting a boundary and saying, I'm just not doing that. It is natural for us to feel emotions. Our bodies respond to the things that we are believing with emotions. And you can change the way that your body responds. You can change the way you handle those emotions with these 3 tools. So the first tool, without any further ado, the first tool is to persuade yourself to believe something different about the situation. Look, if you believe that asking your partner to help you out with something that you need to have done, your taxes, it's coming up to tax time. If asking your partner to help you with your taxes is going to be difficult, that your partner is going to respond badly, that they're going to think you're stupid, that you're going to be embarrassed about what you've been spending. If you are having all of these thoughts that are beliefs about this conversation, your emotions are going to be frustration, fear, anxiety, apprehension, because according to my bear technique, your beliefs lead to your energy, lead to your actions, lead to your result. Your energy is your emotions. So you believe that this conversation, this asking for help with your taxes is going to be difficult, challenging, frustrating, embarrassing. You're going to feel challenged and embarrassed. Your action is going to be to either ask aggressively or to ask shamefully. And then the result is that it's going to be embarrassing, shameful, etc. So that emotion piece, the E of the bear technique, is where we are. And if you can persuade yourself, the first tool, persuade yourself to believe something different. If you can do that, you change your emotion. So we don't want to gaslight ourselves. If you believe that this asking this person to help you with your taxes is going to be embarrassing, I'm not going to try to get you to believe that it's going to be something you're proud of, because it's just too far of a reach. It doesn't make any sense. We want to use a ladder of beliefs to see what is an accessible belief for you. So you believe that asking your partner for help with taxes is going to be embarrassing. Could you believe instead that asking your partner for help with your taxes is an opportunity for you to get closer? Could you believe that it is an opportunity for you to learn something about yourself and each other? Could you believe that it's an opportunity to see how your partner responds to this type of ask? Could you believe that it's an opportunity to get a little bit more playful about your finances? These are all different beliefs that are accessible to you. But if you are so ingrained in the belief this is going to be embarrassing, it is going to be embarrassing, and your emotions are going to be out of your control. If you can believe something else, you start to handle those emotions. So how do you believe a new belief? A belief is a thought that you repeat and back up with evidence. Let me say that again. A belief is a thought that you repeat and back up with evidence. So if you believe it's going to be embarrassing, you have told yourself time and time again that asking for taxes, finances, dealing with finances, talking about finances is embarrassing. And then you have collected and created evidence that support the idea that it's embarrassing. Maybe you've been embarrassed once. Maybe your mom or dad were embarrassed when they talked about those things. Maybe your mom or dad embarrassed the other person when they talked about those things. Maybe you one time messed up in math class. You have this evidence in your brain that it's embarrassing. We need a new belief, and we need to collect and create new evidence. So the new belief might be, this is an opportunity for me to learn about finances and taxes. Let's collect evidence to support that thought. Well, there's all kinds of evidence out there. You can look online. A lot of times that's where I go when I want to collect evidence, that people learn about these things by doing it, that people learn about these things by taking courses online that you can take in order to do it, that people learn about these things from their partners, going online, talking to friends, looking at things in your history and your life experience that shows that this can be a learning experience will help you to have evidence that it can be a learning experience. That's collecting evidence. Creating evidence is actually having the gumption, the nerve, the boldness to go ahead and ask and proving to yourself with evidence that it is a learning experience. But the first tool, no matter how you do it, is to persuade yourself to believe something new, because that will impact your emotions. It always does. You want to use that ladder of belief so that you're not gaslighting yourself, but you are capable of using this first tool, which is to persuade yourself to believe something new. That's the first way to handle your emotions in these high stakes conversations. The second way is to assume good intentions. If you go into these conversations thinking that the other person is your enemy or that you are in war, you are going to have emotions of fear, anxiety, frustration. Your body can't help it. If you think you are facing an enemy, it is absolutely natural for you to be afraid, frustrated, aggressive. So you have got to assume that that other person is on your team. Assume good intentions, love everyone. It spells agile. Be agile. Assume good intentions, love everyone. When you go into this conversation with your partner about taxes, assuming that your partner wants to help you, wants to be on the same team as you, wants to get it to a place where you both save money on your taxes and you can use that money to go to Florida, then you are going to be able to manage your emotions. Your emotions are going to shift from seeing that person as an enemy and fear and anxiety and frustration and aggressiveness to seeing that person as a teammate and feeling that love everyone. Assume good intentions, love everyone. The same thing with people at work. So often we assume that people hate us, that people are on the other side, that people are out to get us. And if you have evidence of that, you need to be very careful of how you collect and create evidence of that, because you might be doing it to yourself. But try to collect and create evidence of good intentions. Try to collect and create evidence that it is better to love everyone. When you can assume good intentions of your boss, your colleagues, your partner, that person you want to set a boundary with, assume that they are not out to get you, but that they are on your side, it's going to absolutely change your emotions. So the first tool is to persuade yourself to believe something different. The second tool is to be agile. And by that, we mean assume good intentions, love everyone. The biggest thing about this assuming good intentions is that it really changes your energy. You know, I was a trial attorney for 20 years. And one of the things I would see with other trial attorneys is they would come back to the office or go to drinks after they had chosen a jury. And they would say, I have the worst jury. I hate my jury. My jury is the worst. My jury hates me. My jury's never going to get it. They're never going to understand. That is an energy that the jury can feel. But if you assume that the jury has good intentions, that they want to do the right thing, that they want to use all of their combined experience, their combined common sense, their combined knowledge to come to a true and correct verdict, then it is going to change your emotions about the trial. And it's going to change the energy that you present to the jury. And the jury is going to feel that and respond in kind. That's where this agile came up. Assume good intentions, love everyone. When I loved my juries, they loved me back. And that's why in 20 years, I lost less than a handful of cases, because I loved my juries and they loved me back. Even when a juror was giving me what I presumed to be the stink eye, I would tell myself, I would look at the evidence of the times in the past where I thought a jury had been giving me the stink eye, and that juror actually was on my side. I would remind myself of stories I had heard about lawyers who had had juries who the entire jury was giving them the stink eye and they won the case. And so I would assume good intentions, love everyone, and it would manage my emotions. I would approach the jury with a different emotion and they would respond in kind. You can do this. A lot of you are internally fighting me and saying, no, because this person is my enemy. Try it on for size. Try to assume good intentions. Find a story that proves to you that they are well-intentioned and see how that changes your emotions. So persuade yourself to believe something different. Be agile, assume good intentions, love everyone. And the third tool for handling your emotions during these challenging conversations is something called Illeism. 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 Illeism is the practice, the habit of speaking about yourself in the third person. A lot of men do this. So infamously, LeBron James said at a press conference, LeBron James is going to do what's good for LeBron James. That's using Illeism. Elmo on Sesame Street uses Illeism, right? Elmo talks about himself in the third person. Bob Dole was famous for doing this. Andre Agassi was famous for doing this. Pele, the soccer player, was famous for doing this. Speaking about yourself in the third person removes you from the equation and it allows you to see yourself differently. I use this often when I want to handle my emotions because I might be walking into a room feeling like the person on the other side I'm at war with them. And I am getting angry. I am getting frustrated. I am getting scared. I am getting aggressive. And if I say I am getting angry, I am getting frustrated, I am getting scared, my brain hears me say that internally or externally and says, yeah, we are. We are getting frustrated. Okay, let's do it. But if you were to use Illeism and say, Heather is getting frustrated, it always makes me laugh because it's almost like I am doing a voiceover of my life. Oh, Heather's getting frustrated. Oh, Heather's getting herself all worked up. It allows me to see the ridiculousness of some of that, and it allows me to remove myself from that emotion. So Illeism has been well researched. One of my favorite, I wrote about it in my book, Advocate to Win, but also Ethan Kross has written about it in his books as well. His books, Chatter is my favorite book. And then the second one is on emotions. And of course, I can't remember it, but I'll put a link to it in the show notes. And I'll put a link to my book, Advocate to Win, in the show notes as well. But the ability to do that removal and to use Illeism so that you are talking about yourself in the third person allows your brain to be removed. It's no longer, I am angry. Oh, yeah, we're angry. It's now, Heather is angry. And it's the brain is looking around for who's this Heather who's got this problem. And it really does help. So to recap, those 3 tools that are going to help you to handle your emotions in any high stake conversation. The first is to persuade yourself to believe something different. The second is to be agile, assume good intentions and love everyone. And the third is to use Illeism to remove yourself from the situation. Now, I told you that every week we do a tool for today. This is a tool that you can use today, same day, in order to face a high stakes conversation. And today that tool is this Illeism. If you can get into the habit of at least trying it on for size before you go barreling into those conversations, asking for a raise, asking for help, asking for setting yourself a boundary, and you can step back and say, Heather's getting nervous. Heather's getting frustrated. If you're me, it makes me laugh. But if nothing else, the research shows it removes you from the situation. So try that on for size. Let me know what you think. In future weeks, we're going to be diving into the specifics of a specific negotiation tools, specific boundary setting tools, specific feedback tools. Next week, we're talking about one simple sentence that is going to help you to have these conversations when you don't want to. And then moving forward, we're going to get into the techniques of all these conversations. I need to hear from you what you're struggling with. You can always email me, heather@elegantwarrior.com, or put it in the comments here. I will address what you want me to address gladly. So I will see you next week with more of these communication tips for high stake conversations, those difficult conversations, negotiations, especially for those of you that are women and maybe struggle with these more than most. In the meantime, as always, take good care.